Welcome back to RealPage Economy Express. The headline this week is pretty simple. The Fed cut rates. A modest quarter-point move, but one that tells us plenty about where the economy is heading. So let's see how the data, from jobs to housing, supports that shift. We start with labor demand. The July JOLTS report showed openings steady at 7.2 million, with hires and separations flat at 5.3 million each. Quits held at 3.2 million, while layoffs stayed at 1.8 million. Initial claims data paint a similar picture. Filings fell sharply to 231,000 for the week ending September 13, down 33,000 from the prior week. Inflation pressures remain. The CPI rose 40 basis points in August, pushing the annual rate to 2.9%. Shelter increased 0.4%, and food climbed 0.5%. Core CPI advanced 30 basis points and is running at 3.1% annually. For our industry, that means households are still facing higher everyday costs, which can limit discretionary spending. Producer prices told a different story though. The PPI edged down just 10 basis points in August after a 0.7% July gain. Services pulled the data lower, while goods prices ticked higher. Still, the year-over-year PPI held at 2.6%. While that hints at some easing in supply chain costs, construction inputs and operating expenses remain elevated, so any relief for housing development and property operations will likely be modest. Consumers are noticing the squeeze. The University of Michigan Sentiment Index dropped to 55.4 in September, the lowest since May, and down more than 20% from a year ago. Leading indicators back that downtrend. The Conference Board's leading economic index fell 0.5% back in August and is down 2.8% over 6 months. Weak manufacturing orders, shorter factory hours, and higher jobless claims all weighed on the index. Now, housing added to that cautious note. Permits fell 3.7% in August, or 11% year over year. Starts dropped 8.5%, while completions rose 8.4% from July, but remained lower than a year ago. Now, mortgages were the outlier. MBA applications jumped nearly 30% in mid-September. Refinance surged 58% as the 30-year fixed rate slipped to about 6.4%, the lowest since last October. And that brings us back to the Fed. With the funds rate now at 4.0 to 4.25%, Powell described policy as moving into a more neutral stance. The dot plot showed a near even split. Some policymakers see one more cut this year, others expect two. Either way, the easing cycle is underway and markets are watching October and December closely. That's all for now. The Fed has opened the door to easier policy, and the key question is how quickly or how much that will filter into housing and mortgage activity. We'll see you next time on RealPage Economy Express.